Welcome to Stick at Night. I'm your Hudson County Commissioner, Anthony L. Romano, representing the great cities of Hoboken and Jersey City. I hope everyone is well out there, getting through these tough times of the pandemic. You're all in my prayers. With us today, I have a special person, a good friend that has been involved in Hoboken for many years. I'm excited to speak with him. Chris Halleron. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Chris, tell us a little history about you. How long are you in Hoboken? How'd you wind up in what you're doing?
Well, I moved to Hoboken in '97. Started off as, I was working as a representative for Anheuser-Busch.
Wow, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
They brought me in, they paid me to drink, and I had a very good time. So Hoboken was up and coming as not up and coming as a sort of contemporary marketing scene where they wanted to concentrate efforts there. So they brought me in, and I kind of liked it, so I stayed. Ended up jumping behind the bar, working at Duffy's at 3rd and Bloomfield,
right.
which is now Cork City, around the corner from Louise and Jerry's. So when I had nights off, I'd duck into Louise and Jerry's and vice versa.
That's how we first. That's right. First. So where were you born and raised, Chris?
I grew up in Syracuse, New York.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
The Orange Men, right?
Go Orange, yeah. It's tropical New Jersey. It's a little cold up there. I was initially working for Anheuser-Busch up there, and then they moved us down here to do some work in Hoboken.
What made you, that Anheuser-Busch, would that be a career maker or breaker? Or what made you leave them?
It was a lot of work. It was.
You were in sales.
I was in marketing, and we were going out. We had a wide range. I just kind of wanted to sort of stay put. And what happened was I ended up starting to do some writing. So once I got into writing, I ended up taking a position doing market research in the city as well as bartending. And from there, I ended up working with initially the Hudson Current, which was with the Hoboken Reporter. Prior to that, I had done some writing with the Jersey Journal as well.
So now you bring it up to speed. You bought H-Mag from...
Yeah, so a lot happened in between. I was tending bar, writing for the Reporter, and then H-Mag popped up, and we had Joe Mindak and Kevin Kale and the late Sang Lee, who was very instrumental in. Sang passed away right after we launched, but he was a great creative force in putting that all together. And they just kind of plugged me in to do the editorial. So I mean, the layout, the graphics, the design, it was all them, and then I just put the words in, and we had a good thing going.
Class magazine, let me tell you.
It was a lot of fun.
Ironic that our ad became iconic with Abby.
It did, yeah.
And everybody always come in and ask, where's the girl in that ad?
Yeah, and you get Brian.
Yeah, Brian. But
Brian's a good friend, yeah.
I think at that point in time, all the stars lined up for H-Mag. The city needed it. The business community needed it, loved it, and it added to the business community. And you all did a fantastic job. I remember going to some of your parties, and you seen the mojo of the staff, the good energy, and the belief in what that you were doing. So now things start to change when the St. Patty's Day parade is, right?
Well, things changed. Things have changed dramatically in Hoboken, and things have also changed dramatically in the local media or media in general. So we're putting out a very high-end glossy magazine, which spoke to local clients and local businesses and local readers. And it was tough to sort of maintain that. Print's been very difficult to maintain in general. So what we've done is sort of downsize. We initially went from every other month to a quarterly publication, and then finally we had to hang it up because the small businesses couldn't really sustain it, and I was concerned that would be the end of us. I took over in 2015.
It's already 6 years.
6 years, yeah. Joe had a great run. Joe Mindak and Kevin Kelly had a great run with.
He moved on to Westfield.
He moved on to Westfield, and Kevin moved on as well. And they came to me and said, "Look, do you want to take it over?" I had been working full time in the city doing publications, and that had gone under. The company I had worked for went under. So it happened that I was there, took this over, and we made a lot of changes with it. We had to sort of sink or swim.
The economy. Business had changed. I think the Hoboken industry, the bar industry and restaurants, I think when the St. Patrick's Day parade was canceled, I'm the last Irish Grand Marshal.
There you go.
Yeah. Honorary, so I don't want to get but the Cunnings did a wonderful job with all their family and staff. And I think that was the beginning of the downward trend towards the industry. Hoboken started to change. The 20-year-olds weren't as coming as much. And I think this pandemic has just probably increased in the way that things have slowed down.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I was tending bar, managing a bar. I got out of that soon after my kid was born. So, so I know firsthand how difficult it was, even in the heyday. Even in the heyday when we were just a beer and shot joint and we were putting money in buckets, and it was still tough. Because there are a lot of expenses. There's insurance, there's staffing, there's you got to pay for everything you're serving. So there's been a lot of squeezes on the hospitality industry, which you mentioned. The younger crowd is not coming to town as much. The people like me sticking around having kids. I'm not going out as much. I can't sustain the bar industry the way I used to.
Oh, it was. I mean,
I did a heck of a job too. But,
yeah, I was there right through the as the night commander in the police department. First with the bar detail with the linear posts.
Right.
And then as when I became a captain, the overall night commander. It was constantly, every Friday and Saturday were busy nights. There was nonstop.
You weren't always chasing me down. Yeah, not always.
But the good thing was that I think that we did a good job. And you have to balance it. The industry has to survive, but there has to be enforcement of the law. So now you moved on, you're into TapInto. Tell us about TapInto with the other Irish legend, Steve
Irish, Steve Lennox. So, for the past couple of years, we transitioned HMAG from a print publication to an online publication. And I was very anxious about it. But we have a great following on social media, and we have a great following with dedicated readership. And, I think we've done a decent job of trying to keep things straightforward, and, people know what they expect when they're reading HMAG. And Steve Lennox came along, and I've known Steve for years. You mentioned the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Right after the St. Patrick's Day Parade went under, Steve and I got together and tried to do something with the festival, which was,
I still have a shirt from the original festival Steve invited me to. It was the first year, I think, after it was by the river.
Right.
And I met the Irish consul, I think she was.
Yeah, that was a great time.
Right. And I still have one of the shirts. It was
we got rained out a couple years in a row, and that kind of threw some cold water on that. But
well, I think that under the Zimmer administration, there was bitter feelings.
There was,
okay?
yeah.
As opposed to now, that with Mayor Ballo, I think there's better communication with the group, and hopefully there'll be some compromise to do something better in the future. I think the Irish community was insulted the way that the Zimmer administration treated them and treated the whole the festival. We're throwing a bone. And when we come back from our break, I want to continue and ask you about the different topics that the magazine covers. Does it cover things that happen in the Jersey City industry, hospitality, and entertainment? Be right back.
We have to be able to police ourselves because we don't want anybody to tarnish our badge.
When internal affairs complaints are not handled properly, the public may believe that most officers commit crimes, when in fact that's not true. Most officers are professional.
If complaints aren't taken properly and the community that we serve doesn't have a trust in the police department, there has to be legitimacy. If the community doesn't trust the police, how could we effectively serve them? And by having a really comprehensive internal affairs unit that handles the complaints properly and people have trust in the system, it enables us to do our entire job as a police department much better.
We need the community as much as they need us. So that citizen that has lost trust in the community could be a very important witness for us tomorrow.
Most women who give birth recover without problems, but any woman can have complications after the birth of a baby. Learn the post-birth warning signs such as fever, headache, chest pain, shortness of breath, increased bleeding, or thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. Knowing these can save your life or the life of someone that you love. Trust your instincts. If you feel something is wrong, call and get evaluated by your healthcare provider. If your symptoms get worse or you do not hear back from your physician, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Welcome back to Stick at Night. I'm your County Commissioner, Anthony Romano. Let's continue our interesting discussion with Chris Halleron, the owner of HMAG, and also now working with Steve Lennox and TapInto. So what we were talking about, does HMAG cover Jersey City's vibrant? Jersey City is
yes.
actually, before the pandemic, past Hoboken. I think that Mayor Fulop and his administration have done a wonderful job of getting their industry out there. And a lot of young people have moved to Jersey City because there's more choices for rentals.
Sure.
And I would think as a businessman that Jersey City should be incorporated. It is a sister city. Historically, Hoboken was the younger sister city to Jersey City. What about the Jersey City scene?
So not just young people moving to Jersey City, but I moved to Jersey City too. So
Oh, okay,
I
good.
snuck up the hill about 3 years ago.
Right.
I'm up in the Heights now. And
I represent you then.
You do, of course. Yeah, I'm well aware. Yeah, so it's 20 plus years in Hoboken. It was enough. We had the second kid, and we needed more space. So we came up the hill, and I'm loving it.
Now, would you buy a house? Or
We bought a house we're on Bowers, right up in the
Okay,
Heights,
sure.
and my kids still go to school in Hoboken. They go to Hoboken Catholic. Dropping down the elevator, I have full access to Hoboken, but I'm still enjoying the Heights, and I'm enjoying downtown Jersey City. So yes, short story long, yeah, we're covering a lot more Jersey City now, primarily because I moved up there. So it's you start looking around, you're like,
Well,
yeah,
even
this
on
does
Palisades
need.
Avenue, things are starting to hop. There's a Fox and Crow.
Yes,
Okay,
Fox and Crow.
there's
You have
the-
Lo-Fi.
well,
You
yeah,
have
and,
Shuckle Pans up there.
I'm fortunate I represent two cities of my life. And I think that Hoboken had lost some of its luster under the Zimmer administration. And I think we need to gain that back. And with some of, I think, copy some of Mayor Fulop's initiatives. I know that Mayor Bala, excuse me, is more open than Mayor Zimmer was. And hopefully, after the pandemic is finally ended, we'll get to move on and get the industry rolling again. Well, the same thing in Jersey City, they're being affected likewise. During the pandemic, I'm sure business is the same thing, 10 o'clock closings, and business isn't what it was. Do you think that it's going to come back in the future afterwards?
I can only hope that it will. It's again, I know firsthand how vital the hospitality industry is for the economy in this area, not just the bars, the bar owners, the bartenders who pay rent, who buy food, who go out to other bars
So I
and
just
restaurants.
laid off staff.
It's as someone who's been in it, I don't know what the answer is in the short term. I really don't. As someone who's studying it and trying to work with our business partners and do everything we can to give them the attention that they desperately need. So yeah, I would like to see a concerted effort by all administrations, countywide, statewide, nationwide, to go back into small businesses and give them whatever they need.
I don't believe that, in my opinion, that it'll ever get back to what it was. I think that because of the precautions, and it's going to take years for the fear of the COVID, is the vaccine going to put an end to it? And by the time that everyone is vaccinated, it's not going to be overnight. But let me ask you this: because of this, downturn in that industry, how does TapInto survive? Do you also cover other areas? I know Steve does the police and that. So tell us about TapInto.
Yeah, so we in the beginning of the pandemic in March, I was still HMAG, and we relied solely on retail, hospitality, and real estate as our revenue streams. So we took it immediately. We took a bullet to the head. I stopped invoicing our business partners because blood from a stone. I can't turn to them and say you have to pay us for advertising when your shop's dark. So. But Steve and I have been talking about stuff, and like I said, I'd known Steve for years, and I knew he was interested in trying to come into the area. He'd done great work in Patterson with TapInto, and he was working on Bayonne, and it just seemed like a natural fit. I'm like, Steve, I'm here. Let's see how we can merge, and I think we've done a great job of doing that. We officially got together in May. I've been working with Al Sullivan, who I've known since my days in the Reporter.
Al's a good guy.
He's a
good-hearted guy.
He's a very strong
When I was
reporter.
going through my illness, I got to tell you, Al would call periodically. You're in my prayers, and if you need anything, I was very touched by that.
He's a good man, and I was in the room when he won Journalist of the Year way back when. So it's a good team that we have together, and we're all kind of working off each other. And it's given HMAG. We turned the H from Hoboken to Hudson, and it's broadened our reach.
That's a good idea.
What we've done is we're taking TapInto content and plugging it through our very strong social media network. And I think it's reaping benefits for
Now,
all of us.
Steve is also hired by the Jersey City, I think, Police Union.
He is, yes,
does their-
absolutely. And anytime we cover Jersey City police issues, we're sure to put that on the bottom. But he's not as hands-on with the coverage of that. Al and I are both kind of doing it. There's really no agenda or anything coming from TapInto, so it's still locally sourced organic journalism that you're getting.
What about politics? You try to avoid that, or how does that work?
I'd say it's MNDAC, way back in the HMAG days, we sidestepped it completely because there were a lot of blogs and stuff that got mired.
It would be the worst thing that you could do.
But, I think the blogs kind of lost their voice or their credibility, and people stopped paying attention, and there was still a need to sort of get news out there. So as I started incorporating the online stuff, it was easy to sort of plug stuff in, where I couldn't dedicate 4 pages of a glossy magazine to covering. I could put stuff up online and keep people abreast and try to keep people, present an unbiased point of view that the blogs weren't doing.
I think people have gotten nastier too. Over the
of course
years.
they have.
It was never like this. I
Yeah.
mean, that people, really, some of the comments. I know.
Yeah, I know
see
you're
it.
dealing with that with a lot of subjects, and I see it through our coverage. So they directed at us. Everybody hates the press, the fake news, and we're all bought by someone, which is good to know because I'm not making a lot of money out of this. I'm waiting on all my Soros money and stuff.
Yeah, it seems like it just seems like it's a new world.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of paranoia, and it's disappointing. But all I can do and all we can do as journalists is keep doing what we're doing and have faith in the product that we're putting out and stand by our
Well,
own word.
there's an example of the magazine. I looked forward to that hard magazine to read at night or to look at the content and the way it was so well done.
It really
now
was.
everybody's online. Very rarely you still see any of the magazines. I know I still get a couple of ones. The Italian American Police still does one, but now that the one editor retired, they haven't put one out because we'll go online now, and you lose that what nice pictures and graphics do. So,
Yeah, like if I was still doing that, I'd be living in our drop boxes and burning back issues for heat because it was
I know
that was expensive.
I just called you too. I said I'm going to get rid of the back issues. There was a
Yeah,
stack
that's
of
right.
them.
Yeah, you still have them. At least someone has them.
When we come back from break, we're going to continue our discussion with Chris Halleron to watch how the industry has evolved and what TapInto, how they put their foot into the political waters. I'm your freeholder, Anthony Romano, representing Hudson County District 5. So we'll be right back.
It has actually changed my life. It's wonderful to be in recovery. I'm also a grandpa, a great-grandpa. I found joy in being abstinent from use.
I'm a family member, I'm a productive member of society, I'm a dog owner, things like that. I'm a fiance. So I think that recovery means on such a broad scale, there's so many different layers to what recovery means to me.
We're just like everyone else. We have heart and soul. It's just that we have this substance abuse disorder and that we're dealing with that. And if anything, it makes us a little bit stronger.
The most important thing for people in the communities to know is that they're just like anyone else, and that they don't necessarily want to be doing the things that they're doing, and it's a chronic illness and it's a chronic disease that needs to be addressed as so.
Hudson TMA reminds you that before you ride, you should perform the ABC Quick Check. Here's how to do it.
You don't want your bike to fail you, so get in the habit of doing the ABC Quick Check before you ride. A is for air. Check that your tires are properly inflated. They should be pumped up to the inflation rating printed on the tire. Many bicycle pumps come with a pressure gauge, so you can make sure they're properly inflated. Low pressure tires can easily puncture. B is for brakes. Check that your brakes are working. Your brake lever shouldn't come closer than a thumb's width to the handlebar. Your wheels should spin freely when the brakes are off. C is for the cranks, chain, and cassette. Grab both crank arms like this and wiggle them to make sure they aren't loose. Spin the pedals and make sure the chain runs smoothly through the gears. Quick means making sure your wheels are on tight if you have quick release wheels. The wheels should be snug in the dropouts and the quick release lever fastened tight.
The Jersey City Medical Center, you know it for its award-winning life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Welcome back to Stick and Night. I'm with Chris Halleron here. Chris, we were just mentioning during the break about the even with rentals. I mean, it used to be, I know at my family's properties, you never had to wait more than a week between when my aunt had it, my mom and dad, and then myself. It was never and the buildings are all, you know, modern and all that. But I think because now there's such a glut, and the pandemic has also destroyed the real estate industry, because most young people who used to come here for New York's closed. They don't have to go into the office to work. So what am I living here for? I could do this from, for example, I had tenants move back to, one went to Utah.
Yeah, there's been a big shakeout is the way I look at it. There are people who had moved to the city for various reasons, and once those reasons disappear, well, they go back, or they go back home, or they try to consolidate. And I certainly don't begrudge any of them.
No.
You know,
well, look at your demographic. You want to move on too. There's the natural moving on of those that have children.
Sure.
And they want the home. A lot went back to Westfield, or they buy out in Chatham because why? Because
the Heights is as close to the burbs as I can get. You know, I don't know if I still need to be plugged in.
So tell me about TapInto again. What issues are like right now? What's the hot topics?
Well, the hot topics are, you know, certainly there's a lot going on in politics, locally, nationally, countywide. So you know, we're busy. You know, and it's you know. It's an easy time to be a politician in contemporary society, because news organizations, organized news, is cut so thin. You know, you have a handful of people trying to do the right thing, and then you have a handful of other people out there, you know, doing Instagram influencing or just writing vicious blogs that really don't have much credibility.
Where's TapInto? Do you have a central office, or those days are gone?
No, there's no central office.
Wow, so it's out of your homes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as about 12 hours ago, I had a big Grizzly Adams beard, so you know I don't leave the house that much. I clean up every now and then. I just sit home and do most of my work from there. I'll get out in the community, take photos, talk to people. You know, I've got 20 plus years of connections between bartending and writing, so it's.
Well, you have a good reputation as a gentleman also, and I think that's important.
I've been working on that over the years, but yeah.
But you, Steve, Al Sullivan, you mentioned all quality people that have integrity. I don't like when stories get twisted, or people are looking for sensationalism on a hot topic that can be disagreement on. What do you think right now are the hot topics for TapInto?
The hot topics are, you know, at the county level, there's the issue with the ICE money and you know, the issues with the jail and how the community is responding to that. You know, I know that you're up to speed on that and right in the middle of it. And what we're doing is trying to present both sides of it. You know, there's a very strong argument against the decisions that you guys have made, and there's a strong argument as to why you did it. And our job is to present those arguments and let people read them.
And that's all people can ask for, just to see both sides of a story. And you know, whenever you got time, and you can interview me for TapInto with regard to that. I think the biggest answer to that question is the federal government's response over the past 20-something years. There should have been some kind of, you know, things in place, policies that would not offend people, but at the same time protect people. You know, public safety versus you know, making sure that people are taken care of.
And you know, you look at the hot button issues at the national level, such as defund the police. You know, that's I'm a centrist moderate, and you know, I wasn't too keen on that terminology. I kind of get the concept that, you know, the police departments nationwide could use a restructuring and could use a redistribution of how they allocate their funds and do a lot more in community policing. But, you know, to put
ironically, well, we learned from NYPD. I was sent over there. It goes back to the, if you ever want to read it, I still have my whole library on it. It goes back to then Commissioner Benjamin Ward with the Vera Institute in a Brooklyn precinct in 1984 that developed the initial they called it CPOP, Community Patrol Officer Program. And that was the embryonic beginnings of community policing. And it's an amazing program as it was then. And then over the years, it either got diluted or bastardized, however you want to put it. But it is a hot topic. Today we're going to, have our first Hudson County Police Academy, and it's needed because we're an urban center. How could a county, all these years, that has the most densely populated area in the country, not have a police academy?
It makes sense,
what I mean?
It's look, and credit where credit's due. I worked with the Hoboken Police Department over the years in various, at various stages and in various roles. I find the department to be very approachable. I think Ferranti's done a great job down there.
Kenny's a progressive, modern chief. What you need, he's not old school.
I hear it from bar owners. There was always there was friction there. There was friction there in the past. I think Ken sort of smoothed that out. And as a journalist, he's very forthright and very approachable. I have his number. He has mine.
Well, Kenny's a very diverse individual. He coached prep, and I think that's part of the problem of this day and age with the policing, because the old way of thinking is the police culture. But when you have people that are college educated, does it make a better police officer? No. But it shines your interpersonal communication skills, and it also has you dealing with people that are not in the police world, and that's important.
I think it does a good job of lifting the veil, and people, as we're talking about with media, people have preconceived notions. We all have agendas, and we're all out to do something that they disagree with. That's not always the case, and it's not the case with the police. Once you come to understand what they're facing, and once the police understand what the community's facing, and once we have those conversations, and they're not shouting matches, they're conversations, I think there's room for progress.
Yeah,
and I think that's where TapInto can come in.
And if there's bad apples, you don't get rid of the barrel, you get rid of the bad apples.
Yeah.
You tighten up the standards. I think you need to do periodic psychological evaluations, because people change over the years, things that happen in their lives. And then even too, we got to give, I hope TapInto recognizes what the fire department goes through.
Sure.
Jersey City has one of the finest police and fire departments, I think, in the United States. They've been through a lot, and you have the police director in Jersey City is really a great guy, Deputy Chief Shea in the NYPD. His brother's the police commissioner there, and very humble and modest man.
And approachable.
Yes.
Again, for me, it's, I don't get bounced off. I talk to them directly, and that's nice. It's nice to get direct access, and when it's granted, we convey it to our readers. So I think that's
well, I'll
the
give
best
you a
we
lead.
can do.
Chief Kelly's retiring the end of the month.
We covered that the other day. We're on it. We got the
Okay.
scoop, so I appreciate it.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise,
and I
thank
hope
you.
you can come on again. And good luck with TapInto and trying to keep what's ever left of the remnants of the old HMAG as the legacy to what Joe and his staff started. But as history shows, all things change, nothing remains the same. Again, thank you, Chris. I'm your Hudson County Commissioner, Anthony Romano. Thank you out there. Everybody take care, stay safe during the pandemic, and let's remember to always respect each other. Thank you.